It's chapter 1. Chapter 1's entitled Trying to Make Sense.
Yeah.
Basically, it says, you would think that with all my experience as a counsellor, I would have had the answers to all the problems in my life. However, even with all that knowledge, I still couldn't fix what was happening to me, and I seemed to be on a never-ending spiral down into the depths of an illness that was destroying my life. When I got ill in the physical sense, I lost the ability to even think in a rational way, and had all but given up on living altogether. What I did not realize was that there were indications that I was getting ill long before I was bedbound, and if I had taken notice of the deterioration in my body, I might have been able to address it sooner and stop myself becoming so ill. They say hindsight is a wonderful thing. So that's the first couple of paragraphs. I can't obviously go on.
Yeah. Well, so were those couple of paragraphs written later in the process, looking back on it, or
probably? You cut me out here, so.
Well, no, I mean, it's like when someone is going through something, and doesn't know. That's what you don't have to quote.
John, it's
very
much.
Sorry, I was
going to say it's very much written. That part wasn't, because it's sort of an introduction.
Yeah.
The first couple of chapters are very much, this is how my life is, and it's horrible. There was talks of being suicidal and
I'll just read
smashing your face with a pan and things like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll just read you. This is chapter 3.
Yeah.
Written January 2009, entitled Is Life Worth Living? I've never felt so ill in my entire life. My whole body hurts so much, the pain is unbelievable. I cannot even be hugged, as just the touch is too much. My eyes hurt to blink, and my jaws hurt to talk, and my throat is raw. I cannot lie in bed for hours as the pain in my back becomes unbearable, yet just walking to my chair is a nightmare. I sit with my neck propped up, but my body just seems to throb. Even flu wasn't this bad. My daughter comes over and helps out, brings me shopping and cleans my house. I still manage to eat, though my jaws ache. I have craving for sweet things all the time. I've never felt so tired. I alternate from chair to bed, dozing in both but never getting a good night's sleep, as the pain wakes me within hours. So
wow.
Yeah.
What a testament.
That's January 2009. So yeah, you can see I've come a lot. Well,
I think that's 2010.
Was it 2010? Well, I mean,
it was
2009.
No, it's an error in the book, but it's been amended for the final version.
Yeah. Well, the doubting relatives and other people should read that part of your book. It's required reading for people who have, because it's as graphic as the one thing that was said to me that left such an impact on me. But there's a lot of detail and stuff which must really bring it home. Right. So, well, thank you very much. You've covered in a very short time an enormous amount of ground there. But what I want to try and do now is open things up to people who are on the line and give them a chance to ask questions. I'll tell you what, well, does anybody have any burning questions at the moment that they'd like to ask? If so, please type them into your question box. And I'll tell you what we'll do while people are getting the questions, because I can sort the questions out. I'd like to do this now. I've never done this before, so I've got to bear with me. There's a tremendous amount of technology involved in this, well, for my simple mind anyway. What I want to do is to bring our guest on, who I'd like to introduce. Kelly Oldershaw is a co-founder of the ME Recovery Association, which has only been launched this week to coincide. I'm not saying it's only been launched for this reason, to coincide with ME Awareness Week, but it launched. Anyway, I won't say too much about it because that's second-hand information. I'm going to try and open up the microphone for Kelly so she can speak. I know she's there. So here we go. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, John. How are you?
Ah, very well, thank you. That's marvellous to hear your voice. Now let me just check, because you're much fainter than the other two people at the moment. It might have. Can I just keep talking? Tell us what kind of day you've had, Kelly. And I want people just to put their hands up to if they can hear Kelly. All right, please.
Okay, I'll get closer to my computer, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Does everyone hear me all right?
Hands up, please, if you can hear Kelly or satisfactorily.
Yeah, that's much clearer.
Yeah, I've got some hands up. Yeah. I think that might have been it, the microphone. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay, Kelly. Well, perhaps you'll tell us something. I know I've seen things on Facebook about your marvellous Monday, but perhaps you'd like to start whatever you want to tell us how that came about and how it built up to Monday. What happened on Monday?
Of course. Well, firstly, it's great to hear from you guys on tonight. It's great to hear a fellow sufferer. I used to suffer myself, so it's great to know that you're on your way out the other side, and I'm sure you will get to full recovery because it is absolutely possible. It's great to hear from you, Mark, as well. So yeah, we launched this week the ME Chronic Fatigue and Fibromyalgia Recovery Association. It was officially launched on Monday at the Effingham Park Hotel in Sussex. We had Nicholas Owen there, the TV broadcaster, hosting the event, and we had some great doctors. We had Dr. Barry Peatfield there and Dr. Avril Krolick. And it was a great event. We had over 120 people in the room, which were both those suffering, carers of those suffering, and also a great amount of practitioners there who are, some of them are specialists in working with these conditions, and others are looking to want to work with these types of conditions. So the reason this has been set up is because I, along with Elaine Wilkins, we both suffered with ME for over 6 and 7 years. And it's been pointed out that there's a lot of support groups out there that often support the condition rather than recovery. And one of the biggest challenges we had was trying to get the support that we needed to get us to recovery. And Mark's doing a great job helping, but he has pointed out that he hasn't been able to completely help because there are other areas that need to be tackled, and EFT and Matrix is a fantastic tool to be able to support the recovery process, but there's also other aspects, one of the keys being nutrition, and there's a real holistic approach needed. But one of the biggest challenges is that for many practitioners out there is that they often can help one area, and they find it a challenge to be able to support somebody through to recovery. One of the biggest challenges for those suffering is trying to find the help they need, and I know I struggled with that. So we decided to put the association together because one of the biggest challenges out there for people is that to get the help that you need, the message out there is generally about managing symptoms and learning to live with the condition. I don't know about if you found this yourself, but I know for many people out there it's about learning to live with the condition. So when we actually launched the Chrysalis Effect Supported Recovery Program 2 years ago, myself and Elaine, we wanted to help those that were suffering, and we developed the online program, and it's been helping people. It's an international program, and it's been helping people through recovery, and it deals with, we have practitioners working with clients, and they do use EFT, and we have got matrix reimprinting practitioners that do that, and they work with nutritionists, and it's a completely holistic program. Now, when we approached the ME Association and some other associations out there and said that we'd recovered and we wanted to share our information, they told us that we couldn't say that we'd recovered. And we were horrified by this. And the biggest challenge is because they are run by people that are still living with the condition. So they're always talking about managing and living with the condition, and they wouldn't allow us to say that recovery is possible. And we were obviously very frustrated by this because we knew recovery is possible because we'd recovered and so many other people have. So that's when we realized that we needed to change the mindset out there from managing symptoms to recovery, and that's why we launched the Recovery Association, because for practitioners, their job is made so much harder because they have clients coming to see them that have suffered for many, many years, and because of that their body has deteriorated to such a degree and the beliefs have become so entrenched into their subconscious, as Mark was talking about, that it makes the practitioner's job so much harder. The practitioner often becomes the last resort for the client. Now, what we want to change with the association is that once people are diagnosed, we're going to be creating an alliance with the NHS and with the government so that people are aware that recovery is possible and that complementary practitioners are the way to go, so that ideally they get referred to a practitioner who specialises in ME or fibromyalgia recovery. So that's what the association aims to do, and obviously the website at the moment is going to start enabling people to access the information that recovery is possible straight away rather than living with the condition. So there's going to be a helpline once the money is raised. There's going to be a helpline talking recovery that will be manned by people who've recovered and carers, and there's also going to be a membership for practitioners. So any practitioners who have trained in any form of ME or fibromyalgia recovery training can be listed on the directory so that those that are suffering are able to access practitioners who know how to deal with their conditions. And there's a free membership for anybody who is suffering or caring for somebody who's suffering that gets free newsletters and the helpline and the website and hear recovery stories. So we're really bringing together those that are suffering with practitioners who are trained in some form of ME recovery training so that they can support somebody through to recovery. So I hope that gives you a bit of an understanding about what the association's about and why we've set it up.
Well, that is a formidable vision to convince the National Health Service that people can get better when they say Absolutely. That you can't. My God.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just heartbreaking that it's necessary to create such a huge efforts to try and improve conditions for sufferers and for other people affected.
It is a challenge, and I think GPs do the best they can, but they're trained to manage symptoms and to treat symptoms, whereas what Mark was talking about earlier is that obviously it's about accessing the cause and looking at the triggers, and GPs aren't trained to do that. That's not what it's about. So that's what complementary practitioners do. They access the cause and look at what's triggering the condition. And our belief is that ME, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, to be honest, are labels for a set of symptoms that the body is breaking down and it's not happy, and people are often completely off track. You know, there's always a massive amount of emotional trauma going on, just as we've heard in the stories tonight and in your book. You know, there was a lot of emotional stuff going on there with, with family and relationship dynamics, and so there's a lot going on that has to be tackled and dealt with. And that's why a completely holistic approach is needed, and one thing will never get somebody through to recovery. You know, if somebody's looking for a cure is like a magic bullet. It's like a pill that's going to make somebody better. And to recover from a condition like this, there's a whole lifestyle change that needs to be taken place. You know, yes, the unconscious level with the things that Mark are talking about is essential, but there's also a lot of physical changes that need to be taking place in terms of nutrition and looking at the domino effect that that's had on the body. So the adrenals is a massive area that needs to be dealt with, and people often need to make a lot of changes in their life around their lifestyle, relationships. So there's a lot of areas that need to be tackled, which is what we deal with on the Chrysalis Effect Recovery Program, so that they can look at it holistically. So we train Chrysalis Effect practitioners to combine their specialisms, whether that's matrix, EFT, nutrition, homeopathy, to combine it with our Chrysalis Effect program so that they can support a client combining their specialisms with our program, so they've got a completely holistic approach to support somebody through to recovery. So that's what we've developed. That was developed 2 years ago, and for us, that's a way in which we do help people, but our bigger vision is to pioneer ME, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia recovery globally, and that's why we've launched the association. And it's starting in the UK, but we do plan to take it international, because this is a message, and it's the 21st century syndrome, as Dr. James Wilson refers to it as, is becoming an epidemic, really. And whether it develops
Kelly, sorry to interrupt you. What was that syndrome again? Just can you repeat?
21st century stress syndrome is what Dr. Wilson calls it, and it's adrenal fatigue is becoming a lot more prevalent because of the way people live their lives now. It's such a challenge, and people with A-type driven personalities, entrepreneurial people or overgivers can develop these conditions, or it could manifest into heart disease or strokes or other cancer. So our body will manifest a condition of some sort if we keep pushing ourselves, you know. So this isn't just